finally got another update blog post for the month, so that means that we're going to get right into it. Starting off with Payouts, Garry has finally implemented the Play Fund system, which is a monetization system for games and maps made on S&box. And the first payout went out in February, and tons of people have mentioned how much they've gotten, including the lead developer of S&box Classic, a remake of the OG S&box mode, getting over $1,207 for the month of February. I'm sorry to put you out there, Asphaltian, but you are a good example of how much a person can get paid currently if you have a popular game on S&box. Garry talks more about payouts as the threshold requirement is $100. So if you earn less than $100, it will roll over to the next month. The best part about payouts is that there's a ton of different ways for you to get paid, either through PayPal, e-check, bank transfer, and more to a ton of different countries. But according to Garry, this was the last big piece of the puzzle, and now that it's in, they can iterate and improve on it. With animation decals, Layla shows off some new texture-based components which can be animated, and these look really cool, but I also cannot wait to see how exactly people are going to be using them in future S&box games. Backscratch decided to bless us once again with a new map called Depot, as this was originally named Datacore. This map was created to be a part of Facepunch's game on S&box called Deathmatch Mode. So this map looks really awesome, I just want to say, and I'm super excited to see how this is going to be when I play Deathmatch in S&box. By the way, just to clarify, this month's updates have been heavily detailed updates on stuff many developers who are currently working on games or possibly interested in making games on S&box are going to love. And while I have not covered all of them, you are able to see the entire blog post in detail in the description down below. So we got some new bloom and native post-process removal. Sam also blesses us again with a new post-processing system driven by components in the S&box editor, as this update replaces the last bits of Source 2's native post-processing system. So Sam took out the time to rework Bloom, which now looks much better in these screenshots. Now, this one might be a very big deal. Garry talks more about making S&box open source, as he specifies that they can't open source Valve's code, but they are able to open their C# code. And Garry doesn't have any reason to truly keep it closed. Now, for the second half of this, I will be honest, I'm not knowledgeable about the subject topic since it goes into detail, and if there's any developers who are watching me that would love to describe exactly what he's talking about here, feel free to inform us about that, because again, I can't really talk too much about it in this way with this. Other than that, he closes this section with, I just wanted you guys to know it's on the cards. I see no value in keeping it closed source, and it's all about getting the logistics right so we don't end up in a nightmare. Jumping over to Movie Maker, Zix provides us with another vital update about Movie Maker, which is S&box's built-in and rewritten version of Source Filmmaker, but for the S&box editor. While Zix has been cleaning it up, some of the new updates allow you to read movie clips, define tracks, and bind them to stuff in the scene. And so far, Zix feels it's in a good place right now. In this section, Zix shows updates that make it easier to write new edit operations and make it that the editor will allow you to undo and redo an edit without too much memory overhead. Other details Zix provided are making it easier to record player controllers and adding the relevant tracks, and also adding tracks to the track list for animation when they're custom components. So let's jump over to the release cycle section. So Garry states that with S&box getting closer and closer to release, they're thinking about how their release cycle will look like. Basically, to sum it up, they don't want to end up breaking games every time there's an update to the live version of S&box on Steam. So they're going to possibly be breaking the game into two branches, one which is the main branch and the other which would be staging. The staging branch would be the playground where there will be daily updates, and at the end of each month will be bundled together and pushed for an update to the live version of S&box. Garry and Facepunch want to build a system that allows developers to test their games on the staging branch and fully avoid breaking games on the live version. While he does mention it's inevitable that there will be pain days here and there, this is a huge focus which Garry and Facepunch are trying to fix. So in summary, Garry closes out by saying that the team is slowing down flashy updates and now rounding all the corners off. The Play Fund is working and was a great achievement for Garry, but now there's a legit way to pay creators for creating stuff on S&box. Because of it, Garry also announced that they're increasing the fund so everyone will get paid. Now, my own personal closing thoughts. This month's update is pretty great. Tons of updates on critical features like the Play Fund and more, but also very important updates for more vital things like a new branch system for updating the game, and also some crazy stuff like open source even being a thing for S&box. I'd love to learn more about the open source info, as right now it's a bit early, but even a dedicated blog post to talk more about this could be very beneficial for a lot of folks like myself and also many others that want to know more about this. Once again, I think this is a really great time for many developers who are still on the fence, or even people, hobbyists, whatever it might be, to look into S&box for making a game, as the foundation seems to be pretty much done, and now a lot of developers can get paid for working on a game and releasing it on the platform. Of course, there still is an issue with keeping a large concurrent number of players on the platform, and while there has been some ups and downs, this will probably be a thing that Garry and Facepunch will have to conquer as their new task as they start to, polish things up. Honestly, if you do enjoy S&box and want to know more about it, definitely subscribe to the channel for more updates and also coverage on some really dope games that are going to be coming out on S&box, so you definitely don't want to miss that. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.